Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please. So, kurz was trinken. Of course, my name is Satoru Hosonaga. I am the head waiter at the Western style restaurant called La Carnival. Corona? Corona? Damn. Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some, It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. Well, it really should. As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an Occidental eatery, 3 days ago. Understood. Hosonaga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir. And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please. Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring? Was ist perspiring? Verschwindend? Schwitzend. Okay. Und aspiring ist aufstrebend, ne? Ja, aufstrebend. Und perspiring ist schwitzend. Okay. Ja, Oh! Ups, meine Facecam war weg. Entschuldigung. Ich hoffe nicht. Ich hoffe, die war jetzt nicht die ganze Zeit weg, aber ich glaube nur, weil ich muss die Hotkeys nochmal ändern. Also perspiring ist schwitzend. Okay. Ich schwitze ja auch, wollte ich sagen. It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We have few dinners at that time of day. Diners, meine ich, nicht dinners. The lunchtime rush was over and there were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory of it too. There was hardly anyone else in the place. Oh Gott, setz eine Maske auf, bitte. It was when I was in the kitchen, putting away crockery and cutlery. A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair. And standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student.
Yes!
Hold on! Let me just clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him. Das hört sich nicht sehr überzeugend an. Ich möchte dir gerne glauben, aber naja.
Objection!
I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness report of what he saw, you amateur. But the next time you interrupt at any inappropriate time, you will be penalized, defended Naruhodo. Don't worry, Yonosuke. You'll have your chance to fight back. For now, we must just quietly listen to the witness. If I may confirm one point, waiter, standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today. Yes, without question. I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim? No. There was no one else around the table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait, what did he just say? Warte, was hat er gesagt? There was no one else around the table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. There was no one else. Okay. What's the matter, Yonosuke? That's just not right. When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello, there was a woman sitting beside him, sitting opposite to him at his table, denke ich mal. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but it's still, what should I do? Interject, würde ich sagen.
Yes!
Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table.
Objection!
Dear me, what are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all? But I'm sure of what I saw. Hosonaga-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy. No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please, have a look if you'd like to. Let me see. Ah, a sketch of the establishment's layout, drawn by yourself, I presume. That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Warte mal. Yeah, okay. Okay. Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter, so... Thank you, sir. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. What was it about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Something certainly seems to have shaken him. Corona, ganz klar. The waiter's business card has been entered into the court record. The head waiter's business card. A sketch of the restaurant's layout is on the back. Jetzt ist mal gut hier. Ah ja. Ich mute mich ja immerhin, wenn ich huste, aber er hier? Das geht so gar nicht. So, the court has now heard the process of the case. Yes, at the moment the gunshot was heard in the restaurant. The only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here. Das ist nicht gut. Gucken wir uns nochmal die Karte an hier. The head waiter's business card. A sketch of the restaurant layout is on the back. Kitchen. Ah, guck mal. Kitchen entrance. Also, das finde ich cool, dass das japanisch da geschrieben ist und dann quasi untertitelt ist. Ja, cool. Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency? If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I called this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense, if you're determined to pursue matters further in this trial. The prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime. Die Musik ist nice. What do you think I should do, Kazuma? What do you mean? Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual, about these peculiarities. You've said it, Professor Mikodobas said it, and so has the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you are innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that trust back in my face? Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Rionosuke. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see just how decisive this evidence really is. Damn. Und wir daneben gucken richtig unsicher. Ich mag die Ausdrücke von Rionosuke bisher. Sehr relatable. Indeed. Prosecutor Aoshi, please continue with proceedings. Tsk. Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be the devil when I want to be. In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced. Forever. The prosecution calls its next witnesses. Very well, officer. Bring forth the witnesses at once. Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. The Great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant. Yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, sir, no, sir. Reporting for duty, sir. Myself, I find employ as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the effluences of our nations, Nippon. Okay, jetzt muss ich erstmal Purveyor, Lieferant, okay, und Effluescence, Ausblühen, Blüte, Blumenhändler quasi. And conduct my trade from Wasutei, a humble premises in the 2nd district, Kyori Korikuta, at your service. An antique dealer and a soldier. What an unusual pairing. Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question. They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned. Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon, and not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curious with which I make my business. I can't understand a word that old man is saying. Ich verstehe ihn auch nicht, um ehrlich zu sein. He's an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival. Okay, so viel verstehe ich auch. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. Okay, also er kommt da regelmäßig hin und unterhält sich mit potenziellen Kunden, die seine antiken Sachen potenziell kaufen wollen. He obviously targets La Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer. Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct? Affirmative. The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir. It was that black uniformed dwarf infantryman over there who unloaded his firearms, sir. This man's as impossible to understand as the other. Yeah, true. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. Stimmt, da war irgendwie ein Geräusch, ne? So, this is the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment he shot the victim dead. Yes. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. Now, the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw, at the precise moment that the incident occurred. Sir, yes sir, standing by ready to report. Unsavory memories of a most acerbic afternoon. Okay, das erste Kreuzverhör. Witness testimony, what the witnesses saw. I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. Curiosität, okay. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the da war das Geräusch wieder. The enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired. Varsity cadet, what? Varsity Universität, okay, ist ein britisches Wort. Und cadet? Von der Mutter verlassen, von Menschenhand aufgezogen. Ich glaube, das muss ich nicht verstehen. Achso, Cadet mit T. Nevermind. Offiziersschüler. Offiziersschüler. Ich hatte nur Kate eingegeben. C-A-D-E. Okay, aber Cadet, Offiziersschüler, das macht schon mehr Sinn. Ja, moin. Fired on the English civilian. And from the back, the cowardly little weasel. From the back, das stimmt ja nicht. Er wurde in die Chest geschossen. I was on my hands and knees, investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously abscond precious curio. Well, so you, Sergeant Noza, actually witnessed a vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That wicked university's cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy. What times we live in, when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day. But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Wionoske? Yes, all I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. Aber warum macht man das? Frage ich mich. After I'd said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant. When I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair while the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it. So I bent down, and just as I was picking it up, bang! Well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is? Wionoske, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witnesses. The witnesses. Cross-examine. Do it now. As we have heard, Your Excellency, there's no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. Der Soundtrack ist gerade schon wieder nice. Das ist eine Variation von dem, was wir gerade schon gehört haben. Noch ein bisschen intenser. It is time to bring this despicable student to justice. Certainly, the testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare this.
Yes!
Wenn ich mich im Unterricht melde, so ganz langsam. What in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst? I mean the defense. Demands its right to a cross-examination. Dear me, dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki headband boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic. Huh? How did he know? The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
Objection!
The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it, it is irrelevant. Kazuma is so commanding. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. Alright, this is where the battle really begins, Ryonosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witnesses' statements. How? You didn't fire the gun, which means what the soldier said has to be a lie. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it, and the key to doing that is evidence. Right, evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now let's go, Ryonosuke. Don't let them beat you. Alright then, it's all or nothing. The erste cross-examination, okay. What the witnesses saw. Okay. Press und Präsenz sind die beiden Schultertasten. I was investigating a regulation beefsteak at the... Ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a technical discussion with the old man.
Yes!
Why aren't you saying anything? Is this some new interrogation technique? I hadn't actually thought of what I wanted to ask. Just ask about anything that catches your attention. Anything that bothers you. Alright then. This beefsteak you mentioned. What kind of food is that? Beefsteak ist... Was hat er gesagt? This beefsteak you mentioned... Teen Shan. Okay. Beefsteak is a delicious cut of veal, vigorously cooked on a cast iron grill and served piping hot. Oh. If food could receive medals of honor, da war wieder das Geräusch, beefsteak would be almost as highly decorated as a cutlet. Right, I see. Thank you, sir. So, next question. This cutlet you mentioned, what kind of food is that? Teen Shan! Ah! Cutlet is a delicious cut of veal tossed and breadcrumbs and deep fried in cooking oil. Accept your guilty verdict, atone for your crimes, and when you're released from prison, try it! Okay, vielleicht können wir es schon vorher essen, ausprobieren. Cutlet heißt übrigens Schnitzel. Yes sir, I will sir. On the double sir. Sorry to interrupt, but how about trying to stick to questions that are irrelevant to the case? Oops, sorry, I'll do my best. So, next question. Is it just me, or do you keep hearing a sort of wah crying? Negatives. Crying noise, okay. Well, at least we've learned that he's a big beef lover. Affirmative. It's not easy knowing what questions to ask. Prime Presser awarded. Ach, das sind die Achievements, okay. Cool. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine-going courier to the military gentleman. Au, ich habe ganz vergessen zu erwähnen, das ist natürlich eine Neuheit hier, ne? Das ist eine Ace Attorney Neuheit, dass wir hier mehrere Zeugen auf einmal haben. Wir haben sonst immer nur einen Zeugen gehabt bisher und jetzt haben wir hier 2. Es ist so, weil ich schon alles in Trailern gesehen habe, ist das so im Vorbeigehen passiert, aber ich muss das jetzt nochmal hervorheben, ne? Also wir haben hier 2 Zeugen, was wir vorher noch nicht hatten, also das ist eine Gameplay-Erweiterung, falls es euch noch nicht aufgefallen ist. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine-going courier to the golden military man.
Yes!
I have no idea what you are talking about. A Coban boy. A Coban? You mean an old Edo coin? Was ist ein Coban? Finde ich nichts. Und Edo? Edo. Ist das eine... Ich nehme an, das ist eine Währung einfach, Edo. The day prior to the incident, a treasure of exceptional value from the holy period entered my possession. I took myself to the restaurant the following day with that item secreted in my bosom pocket, in the hope of an affluent cognizant appraised of its indisputable value being present. Bitte was? Cognoscente. Experte. Okay. So, you were hoping to sell your Coban coin to Sergeant Noza, whom you met at the restaurant. Yes, it's quite clear where you're going with this, boy. You were about to assert that a penniless soldier would have no hope of purchasing a precious Coban. Isn't that so? Well... You little upstart cadet. You want to add disrespecting a superior officer to your list of crimes, do you? Blatant subordination. No, I didn't say anything. Subordination ist Unterordnung, ne? Subordination, Unterordnung, genau. Although penniless might be just the word I was looking for. In any case, the hour was already advanced beyond that of the midday luncheon. There remained precious few present with whom I could engage in discourse about matters of business. The gentleman beside me, who was grappling with his waist wheel at the time, was my sole prospect. Was heißt Wheel? Kalbfleisch, okay. I see. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's action with my own eyes.
Yes!
So, you're saying that you actually saw me at the time? Affirmative! I saw you. Laughing, cackling, like a madman as you trained the barrel of your gun on the English civilian. Ich liebe diese Animation. But that's impossible. I only... Allow me to confirm just one point, please. What's that, Private? Thinking carefully about the statement you just made, it seems to me that it must have been just after you heard the gunshot that you looked over to the victim's table. And so what if it was? Well, if that really is the case, it would mean that you didn't in fact see the precise moment when the killer actually fired the gun. Da hat er wahr. Arc! And double arc! My sixth sense. Sorry? My sixth sense of danger. I picked up the waves of murderous energy radiating from your foul mind. Which means, a split second before you pulled the trigger, I was looking right at you, Cadet. Surely that's not really possible, is it? Ich muss noch mal gucken. Cadet, Offizierschüler heißt das? Ja, aber wie wird das ausgesprochen?
Cadet.
Cadet, okay. Es wird Cadet ausgesprochen, I'm sorry. Do you think I'd have got where I am today in the army if I couldn't sense danger in the air, son? Well... It would seem the soldier is absolutely convinced that he saw you do the deed. This is not good.